Let's say you graduated and you're a major, I don't know, bassoon major in performance. Well, you get a job, and now you get a high school job, and you have a big band, jazz big band, and you're not a jazz player, you don't know anything about jazz, but you have to do something with this big band. So you're scared to death, you're nervous, you don't know what to do, you're hoping nobody finds you out. There's a lot of that. What can you do? You don't have the time to really learn a lot about jazz. There are a couple techniques that can really help you if you're beginning jazz band director, or even if you've done it for a while. People who play jazz kind of do this naturally, but if you're not used to it, I want to give you just a couple tips that can help you, all right? And this works. I've seen middle school bands sound terrific with this technique. So assuming you really don't know what to do, you look at the band and you look at the rhythm section. If you don't know what to do, the rhythm section will really scare you to death. And so let's move on here. This is what you do. Number one, don't play any chart that you can't get the recording for. Okay? Publishers make recordings because they want you to buy their charts. They want you to buy they want your money. So you can use the recording as a teaching device. In fact, it should be used as a teaching device. And this is how you do it. I saw a band years ago that was a middle school band. They were great. I mean, they were great. They were almost too young to sound that good. And when I went, I asked the band director, can I come and check out how you do this? And this is what this person did. And you can do the same thing, and it's easy. And it's not a cop-out. This is really the way players learn how to play this music. We all used to learn by sound, how the music sounded. And now, if you don't hear the music that much, you can learn through a bunch of techniques and books, and I have a ton of books right here, and I use them. But it's all in service to how it sounds. And if you don't listen to the sound of it, it's like trying to learn how to speak Russian with a book about Russian, but you never hear it. Techniques and ideas, it gets to be, it's too top-heavy, and it's too hard, and you don't need to go that way. So here we are. I go to this person's rehearsal of this guy that has this great band all the time, middle school kids, and he has two big speakers on either side of the big band, okay? The band sits, he hands out the music, no one takes out their instruments. They don't take them out. He plays it through, so they all sit and they look at the music, they're looking at the music like this, and they're hearing it. So what happens now is they're realizing that what's on the sheet isn't this, it's that. And in jazz, this is really important because we really shape and mold a lot of what's written to not sound at all the way it's written. And if you're a classical person, you don't know much about jazz, you could fall into the trap of rehearsing your jazz band like a classical group, like a wind ensemble or an orchestra, a concert band. And if you start doing that right off the bat, you're kind of lost because it's the wrong path. With jazz, you need to come to the music with a point of view of how to alter it already, and that's where the big glitch seems to be in young conductors or people who haven't heard this music a lot. So, kids sit down, they look at the music and they hear it. The whole chart, you run through the whole thing, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes, whatever it takes. Then, and this I thought was great, he runs it again. He runs it again. And this time they all take out their instruments, but they don't put their mouthpieces on. They finger. So in other words, they listen to it. They listen to the whole chart through the speaker, and they're fingering while they're looking at the part, and they're hearing it. Okay? Then the third time he goes through it, okay, the third time, the kids play along. And he tells them, he says, no matter what dynamic marking is written, just for now, I want you to play softly along with the recording. And he turns it up. So the third time, it's cranked up a little bit. And the kids kind of play along. Then he says, now let's play it by ourselves. And the first time they play it alone, it sounds like they've been playing it for about a month or 6 weeks. Okay, so in retrospect, what happens is if you look back at just what happened to these students, before they played it on their own, they've heard it 3 times. They felt it physically which is really important, they felt it physically 2 times. First time, you just watch it and hear it. Second time, you finger along and you listen. Third time, you play along softly and you hear it. And by that time, you're actually ready to kind of take it off on your own. And it's amazing how close they get the first time they play it alone. Okay? Now, some people may think, oh, this is maybe copping out, or well, I don't know what anybody's going to think, but I don't care. What happens is this is the way people used to learn music. They learned it from sound, and you just imitate it. So when you see this thing, how do you get a swing feel? Well, if you see eighth notes, it's da 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 da, but in jazz, it's da 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 da. Well, how do we get that? Well, you can get the triplet, and you get the first 2 notes and you tie them together, so it's a quarter note and a triplet with a bracket with a 3, and you get into all of that. That's a lot of like technique. That's a lot of approach type technique concept that it's a lot to think about. But if you just say to someone, repeat after me, boo ba doo doo da, boo ba doo doo ba, that's it. They did it. They get this nice swing feel, and they're not analyzing. They're not doing all these steps. They're learning by sound. So if you can teach by sound, it's easier for you. You don't have to explain things. You don't have to get all nervous that you're going to be found out. This teaching by sound is actually easier to do, and it's more true to what the music is. And you can get involved with a lot of techniques of how to describe it all. But this guy who had this band, it was a great band. They always swung, and the kids knew exactly what the music was supposed to sound like. Now, the next rehearsal, if they were going to do the same tune, what he would do is he might not go through all 3 steps. He may just say, look, before we play this, let's go through it where you guys just finger it, like the second step. Let's do that second step. And, they get into it. And after a while, they know what to do. And this is especially helpful for the rhythm section, which we really don't have time in this clip. I want to put out like a companion clip to this to just give you an idea of what you can do with the rhythm section, because the rhythm section is different. If you're not used to big band and you're not sure what you're doing in front of the big band, when you look over to the rhythm section, you're really not going to know what to do with these guys. The rhythm section is a whole thing for quite a few different reasons. Like I said, we'll get into it in this next clip. But a way to alleviate a lot of stress, a way to give yourself something to shoot for, and have it be true to the music is A, get the recording of the chart you want to buy. All the publishers do it. First step, have them look at the music while they listen to the chart. Second step, listen to the chart again, all in one sitting. Listen to the chart again and finger it. Drums are playing in the air, right? Third step, play along with the recording. And when they play along with the recording softly, while the speakers are loud, I've actually seen him put a towel over the drum so he could hit the cymbal and not have the cymbal be so loud you can't hear the recording. And this is a way to do it. He would introduce it each rehearsal with one of those steps, either playing along with the track or fingering the track before they played the tune. But that would have been after the first time they did it, where they would do the 3 different steps. It's a great technique. The thing is, teaching by sound is kind of easy to do if you know how to introduce it. You don't know, or you don't have to know the deep ins and outs of jazz. You need to know how to expose your students properly to the concept. And if you know how to do that, you're teaching them to teach themselves. And it's really important to feel comfortable with this, because it's easy. And the thing is, there's not a lot of money to be made with this. You don't put out books on how to learn from a recording. But all the real jazz players, that's what they've done. That's how we all started. So check that out. Try and teach by sound, and you'll find yourself having a lot of success. And you're learning how to expose the students to it, and the students are learning how to teach themselves. Remember that. It's good stuff. It works.